Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I would recommend Angel Care to anybody. They have really helped me regain my strength.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
I couldn't have survived this without Angels Care.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to our Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. And thanks to our producer, as always, Jeff Durall. Well, we're on location today. We're in Colby, Kansas, and we're at the site of Kansas' first solar garden with the president and general manager of Midwest Energy, Ernie Lehman. And of course, Midwest Energy is the integral part of the connection in Kansas with the solar farm or solar garden, if you will. How's Midwest Energy figure into this overall pattern, Ernie?
Well, solar technology has been developing rapidly over the last 5-10 years. And we saw a lot of activity going on in other places besides Kansas, and some discussion within Kansas about, for example, rooftop solar panels that some people put on their houses and so on. But you know, you really can't make rooftop solar work in a lot of places, like if you have trees in your neighborhood, if you're in a more congested area. And when we heard about this company in Colorado called the Clean Energy Collective, and this concept that they had developed of a so-called community solar garden, we were interested. We wanted to learn more about it. And so we began a long and intense discussion with them about how we could bring this technology and bring this solar garden concept to Kansas. And it took a while to bring things together, but ultimately here we are today, dedicating to service this first Kansas Community Solar Garden.
Ernie, you mentioned in your opening remarks to the gathered group here, of which there were about 100, I think, probably, who gathered for this grand opening or ribbon cutting, if you will, the Midwest Energy vision. So the solar fits into the overall Midwest Energy vision then?
It fits in so nicely in a couple of different ways. Our vision is simply building a brighter future for our customer owners. And that might sound a little clunky when you put it that way, but if you break it down and we talk about it with respect to this solar garden, it just fits beautifully. For example, when we talk about a brighter future, well, what brighter future can one provide than one powered by solar energy? So that fits very nicely. But when we adopted this vision for the company some years ago, it was meant to be a metaphor for a brighter future for everybody we serve in central and western Kansas. And in this instance, by actually making part of our investment in future energy supplies pay a dividend to our customers, we're building a brighter future directly for those customers. Now, the other part of the vision statement, this customer owner concept, you know, other cooperatives may refer to people as their members. But we recognize that first and foremost, we're serving our customers. So that's why we wanted that word in the title. And yet, also as a cooperative, there are owners. So already, our customer owners have a piece of Midwest Energy simply by taking service from us. But now they have a piece of supplying power to Midwest Energy. They get a piece of the action, so to speak. So instead of necessarily just getting a bill from us, well, now they can get payments from Midwest Energy to help satisfy their own need for electricity. So this fits in very well with building a brighter future for our customer owners. So
it really expands the customer concept, doesn't it, Ernie?
Exactly. Now you can be a customer and a supplier, frankly. So we're doubling down in building our connection to our customers with this kind of a concept.
Well, Ernie, we thank you for the time today, and we also thank you for the vision that Midwest Energy and its board has provided for the future, because we can see the future right behind us.
Well, and there'll be more coming, but thanks very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Ernie Lehman, President and General Manager of Midwest Energy. our community connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I would recommend Angel Care to anybody. They have really helped me regain my strength.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
I couldn't have survived this without Angels Care.
Welcome back to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. We're at the site of Kansas' first solar garden, the first in Kansas and the first tracking solar garden through the cooperative efforts of the Clean Energy Collective, the company involved with Midwest Energy. Joining us from Midwest Energy is the Vice President of Customer Service, Pat Park. Pat was in on the initial negotiations with Clean Energy Collective about the solar garden just outside of Colby on Veterans Road, as a matter of fact. Pat, let's get some specifics and kind of go back a little bit in this process. Jim Hartman from Clean Energy Collective had indicated that you two had initial discussions, and Midwest Energy had done the survey, I remember. We filled it out. In response to questions, would you be interested in solar power?
That's correct. We first heard of the concept of community solar probably in 2010. And in 2011 and 12, we included questions about customers' interest in this, along with our regular satisfaction survey. So we collected data for 2 years, and customers did indicate a higher level of interest than we expected in participating in this kind of a project. And then January 2013, I met Jim at an industry meeting, and we began discussions and took it from there.
Now, the actual array itself is on, tell us about the physical concept here of the panel array.
Okay, Midwest Energy has simply agreed to buy the power that is produced here, much like we would buy the electricity from a wind farm or from a coal-fired power plant. It's called a purchase power agreement, and that is our involvement here. The project was engineered, designed, and constructed by Clean Energy Collective, and then the CEC sells panels, one or more, to the customers, so the customers take ownership of the panels, but the project itself is still managed by Clean Energy Collective, and Midwest Energy's role is to buy the electricity and then put a credit on the customer's electric bill.
And that credit shows through on a monthly basis then, based on the amount of electricity generated by the panels, the number of which the customer owns.
That's correct. We take the total output of the entire facility, and then that is divided up proportionally depending on how many panels each customer owns. And we are paying for the electricity by putting the credit on the bill.
Now, Pat, what made the decision, I guess, for the board of Midwest Energy to really get into the solar community project as opposed to, say, individual panels on rooftops and things like that at businesses and homes?
2 or 3 reasons, actually. One is by building a larger project like this, we get economy of scale, so it brings the price down. Then also we wanted to work with an entity that already had solar experience. Midwest Energy didn't have experience with solar, and we wanted to work with folks who'd been in that before. And then this concept brings a bit of consumer protection to the customers because they're not dealing with someone on the internet who maybe they've never met before. It's not a fly-by-night deal. It was a reputable company that had a good history around the country of developing other projects. And so we began working with CEC and move forward. And still our customers can individually buy panels, but as a group, they're taken care of by Clean Energy Collective.
And because it is a community project that is owned by Clean Energy Collective, the purchaser, that is the customer, of which we are one in total disclosure here, doesn't have to worry about maintenance, doesn't have to worry about insurance, anything like that, or even the regular things that might come up with any kind of, whether it be wind or solar or whatever, energy consumption.
That's correct. And This project, like the other community gardens, is set up as a separate legal entity. And there is a trust fund that a portion of the purchase price from your panels went into this trust fund, and then a portion of the output each month, the dollar value that gets put into the fund, and that is used for operation and maintenance. So even if the entity, Clean Energy Collective, went away in 3 or 4 years, this system will still be here, the customers will still own the panel, and because of the existence of that trust, we make sure that the customers still get what they paid for. In fact, the purchase power agreement is 25 years in length, and we have the option to renegotiate after that. So this could easily go 40 or 50 years.
And probably will be expanding based on what Jim Hartman was telling us in segments.
It may very well be, because solar energy just offers a lot more benefits in terms of the stability of the output. The timing of the output is a better match to our peak requirement needs. And so I think in the future we will be seeing more and more solar energy projects.
And if you would, Pat, I'd like for you to get into that a little bit more, because this is something that Midwest Energy has to deal with. We don't think about it as consumers necessarily, but Midwest Energy has to be cognizant of the peak demands and where they're going to get their power and how much power they need.
That's correct. Energy that we can get from a power plant, it has more value if it's a steady output, if it's, we call it firm, if we can depend on it. And because this obviously generates when the sun is shining during the daytime, it's a better match to when our peak requirements are. Customers may not realize that wind energy actually gives us more energy at night than during the day. We own, or rather buy from the wind farm along I-70 near Ellsworth. Many folks have driven by that on I-70. And when you look at an entire year's worth of output on that, we get more at night than during the day. And of the 4 seasons, we get the least in the summer than at other times of the year. So just when we need the energy the most, wind farms give us the least. And that's almost the opposite with solar energy.
One of the beauties of the garden here is the trackability of the panels. So as we see here behind us, some of those panels have been adjusted now, although they actually track the movement of the sun, don't they?
They do. It's really interesting to watch in the morning. When the sun first comes up, the panels are tipped to the east. At midday, the panels will be flat, looking straight up, and in the evening, they will be tipped to the west. So it's we get a nice smooth curve during the day. Assuming it's a sunny day, it'll be a smooth curve. On a partly cloudy day, as the clouds pass over the sun, we will see the output go up and down, but still from morning till night, we'll get something out of the power plant.
You mentioned too that there's a neat way to actually graph the production of the energy through the website.
That's right. CEC provides a nice customer portal that can be logged into, and so every customer that buys a panel will be given a login to the website, and so you can go in and see how your output is coming along. Not only the hourly output for that day, but it also tracks what your dollar credit is for each month that you've owned the panels.
And finally, in our last couple of minutes, Pat, there is another project that involves wind that Midwest Energy is now involved in a test case.
That's right. This is actually our second renewable energy project here in the Colby area. About 1 mile west of town from the community college is a small wind test facility. We partnered with the National Renewable Energy Lab in Golden, Colorado, Colby Community College, and Kansas State University to establish a facility here to test small wind machines. The results of those tests are used in a certification process. The IRS just recently issued a new rule that in order for a small wind machine to be eligible for a tax credit, it has to be certified. And so much like when you go shopping for a new appliance, like a refrigerator, you'll see the yellow label that tells you on a test basis how much energy that product will consume. The certification process for small wind machines is a fair rating that a customer can use to look at to see what the output of that wind machine should be, noise levels and so on, and it's standard, done nationwide. There's only a handful of test sites like this in the country, and right now there are 2 wind machines up, and we expect other manufacturers will want to put their machines up here and test those.
And Pat, if there are people who might be interested in the solar panels, in the purchase of those, go to Midwest Energy?
Go to the Midwest Energy website. We have a link to Clean Energy Collective, and they can get in touch with the folks who will actually sell the panel.
Pat Park is the Vice President of Customer Service at Midwest Energy. More continuing with Clean Energy Collective's Jim Hartman when we continue on Community Connection from Eagle Community Television.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
There's not any words to describe their kindness.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
They saved my life.
And welcome back to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Jim Hartman is Vice President of Strategic Development for Clean Energy Collective, the company that's behind the first solar garden in Kansas. As we visit with Jim about the project itself, let's get a little background on Clean Energy Collective, Jim. Tell us about the company.
Well, the company's been around since 2010. We were the first group that started doing community solar arrays in Colorado, and now we're doing them all over the country in several different states. We're very happy to do this one in Kansas with Midwest because they're a great partner, and they have worked with us to create the first tracking solar array here.
Tell us how this partnership works. You and Pat Park initially were in conversation. Take it from there, Jim.
Yeah, well, Pat and I met at a solar convention in early 2013, and he shared with me that there had been some community survey interest in a project like this, a community solar project. And I said, well, let me roll up our sleeves and see if we can help you.
Now, we normally think of solar projects as maybe the panels on a roof of a house or a building or something like that. But Clean Energy Collective has taken it a step further and had advanced that concept.
And the reason for that is there's only so much production you can get out of a rooftop system. Usually they're not ideally sited or oriented, and they don't produce as much power per panel as a community solar one that just sits in the middle of a field like this, tracks the sun back and forth. The other thing that's really important about community solar is each of the panel owners never has to worry about maintenance. We set up a maintenance trust for each of the facilities. We do all the work and they get all the benefits.
Now, this particular array, if you will, consists of individual panels, but they're all put together. Give us a little of the specifics on how the mechanics work on this, if you would, Jim.
Sure. Well, there's a little bit less than 4,000 panels, and we maintain and operate the infrastructure, the racking systems that you see, the high technology equipment called inverters that convert the DC power into AC power. And then we integrate the reporting of all that through Midwest Energy's billing system so that it just seamlessly shows up as a credit on someone's bill.
Now, the panels are owned by the individual customers of Midwest Energy. Am I right on that?
Correct. And anybody can own one. If you have a Midwest Energy bill, you can own a panel or several panels, as many panels as would offset all of your energy use if you wanted to.
And Midwest Energy has put the call out because these, being in a community array like this, are applicable to any setup, whether it be an organization, a group, a school, a church, a business, a home, anything like an apartment, assisted living complexes. Anybody can participate, can't they?
That's right. And one of the important things about community solar is going back to the rooftop analogy and using the apartment example. Apartment owners typically don't own their roof because they're just renting, and they couldn't do a rooftop solar system even if they wanted to. So this gives them the opportunity to do solar when they previously could not.
Well, now, the advantages, you've already alluded to some of them, Jim, and that's, of course, no maintenance on the part of the owner. People own the panels themselves, so if they should happen to move, they can either sell those panels to the new owners or they can transfer it to other members of the family. Am I right?
That's perfect. Yeah, it's really easily transferable. They own these panels as an asset, just like you own your house or your car or a boat. And if you move, you can, and if you stay within Midwest territory, you can take your panel credits to your new address, or you can sell your credits with your house, or you can give them to your school or your church or your family member, or you can sell it on the open market.
Well, now, this particular project is not only one of the largest in a solar community array or garden, if you will, but also is Kansas' first, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's the largest community-owned tracking solar system in the country. And it's Kansas' first large-scale solar array. So there's a lot of firsts here.
What about Clean Energy Collective? Are they looking at other expansions, other states, other utilities, if you will, to partner with?
We are. We're already the partner with the Department of Energy nationwide for a community solar website service. So if anybody's interested in community solar, they can go to that website and learn more. So that's any person in any state in the country. We've got several states that have arrays now, and we're working with utilities in all the states to answer their questions. And ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if we have at least one array in every state in the country.
And along that line, one of the biggest questions about renewable energy concepts is the wind doesn't blow all the time, the sun doesn't shine all the time, and one of the things that companies have to be looking at are being able to provide continuous services to utilities. How is Clean Energy Collective addressing that issue?
Well, this one is addressing it with the tracking panels. So we're producing more power late in the day where peak power costs are the highest for this particular utility. Different utilities have peak loads at different times. And ultimately, whether it's battery storage or pumped water storage or some other form of storage, there will be more storage available with solar systems. And I wouldn't be surprised if solar power provides most of the renewable energy in the future as opposed to wind, because there's just more easy to integrate those with utility power systems.
And it's more consistent, isn't it?
It is more consistent, yeah. Like Ernie and Pat were saying earlier, there's more production during the day when they really need the power, especially in the summer daytimes when there's a high air conditioning load.
And you can see behind us here, the panels do, and this is another unique concept here. I believe this was the first as well of the tracking systems that were installed. So these panels actually move as the sun moves.
They do. So in the morning they'll tilt east, midday they're flat, and in the evening they're facing west, so that they maximize the production. Typically about 15% more production than a fixed solar power system.
What's the long-range outlook for the longevity of the solar panels?
Well, we build these as utility grade. So what that means to us is ultimately it could last 50 years or more. That's how we design our systems. We are offering a 80% capacity warranty so that the production of this power plant will never drop below 80% of its rated value. And the way we do that is we're planning to add more panels in the future when we get to that 80% mark.
Will they be in the same location? Have you other site locations involved in Kansas or in working in partnership with Midwest Energy then?
We could easily do another one here. There's plenty of land right here at this site. It's a really good spot within Midwest's grid to connect into the power system. So I'll be talking to Pat and Ernie in the future. If this one gets to the point where they want to do another one, we could easily do one right next to it.
But if people were curious about the potential for buying into this partnership with Clean Energy Collective, there are still panels available for purchase then.
There are, and if people want to just Google our website, they can go right to the Midwest Energy website, and there's a link right there. Or just Google Clean Energy Collective and you can get it that way. Anyone who's interested should take the opportunity while it's there, because within, I would say by the end of this year, we'll probably be sold out.
And once again, as Mike Morley, who is the communications director for Midwest Energy, told me, there is a website available that you can actually track the production with a graph, I believe. Pat was talking about that too, that there is a graph that you can actually log onto and see the production of the panels.
That is exactly correct. And what I like about that is people live by a smartphone these days. It seems like most people do anyway. And you can get all that data right there, or on your computer. You can have your kids do their science homework based on the actual production minute by minute of these solar panels.
The partnership with Midwest Energy, of course, Midwest Energy has been a long-term utility that's been involved in western Kansas for a long, long time. 41 counties is their service area now in Kansas. How's that working relationship going?
Well, I would say it's great. You know, I enjoyed meeting Pat day one, and ever since then, all the other folks that we worked with have been super. And I meant what I said when I commented earlier that they're one of our best utility partners in the country.
And more to come from Clean Energy Collective.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Vice President of Strategic Development at Clean Energy Collective, Jim Hartman. Our community connection. Thanks for watching Eagle Community Television.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
There's not any words to describe their kindness.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
They saved my life.